Let's get it on!
Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. Cross that line. We're your boys. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, is my partner in crime, Sean Ducross. And I know, right? Different night. We were trying to do our show on Wednesday like we normally do. And unfortunately, you know, stuff happens out of our control. That's what happens when we do the show from home, right, Sean? We're at our own kind of disposal when it comes to internet. And it unfortunately happened where our internet was out for most of the evening. So we just went, okay, no show, can't do it. But here we are tonight doing a show for you guys. So thank you for you guys tuning in tonight on a special edition of the Sports Warriors tonight. In the meantime, we've had some interesting stuff happen in the world of combat sports, Sean.
To say the least.
I mean, you're talking about Herb Dean making news. UFC on ESPN 14 making news. And here we are talking about referees having multiple issues on a bad stoppage. And it's kind of making its way around the internet, Sean. And I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent. Because you and I see it two different ways. I wouldn't necessarily, you're pro Herb. I don't necessarily think I'm pro Dan Hardy. We've been commentators calling fights. We've been cage side covering fights. So it's kind of different for us to sit back and all of a sudden put on our ball cap to just talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do for the first portion of the show. We're going to talk about the bad stoppage. And do we really need a golden standard at this point? And I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on that as well. I have a couple clips, too, that I want to play as well. And hopefully that goes over a little bit for you guys as well to kind of get our point across. Is that, I mean, I stayed up for a good portion of the night, digging deep onto late stoppages. And I didn't just look up Herb Dean. I could care less about if it was Herb Dean or not. I cared about late stoppages, period, in combat sports. Herb Dean just so happens to get lumped into it just because he is who he is, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about what happened and how we got here. And it was the Herb Dean late stoppage on the Francisco Trinaldo versus Jai Herbert fight. Was it late? Sure. The video that's going around, count 3 seconds, not 3 seconds. He should have pounced on him faster. The thing that I want to get to, let me see if I can get it. Let me see if I can get it for you guys. So, I have a couple of sound clips just to kind of set up the narrative here. So, Herb Dean talking about the opponent falling down, okay? Listen to this.
But if you know anything about fighting, the fighter got hurt. Fighters get rocked all the time. But we're looking at his actions. He's tracking his opponent. He knows where his opponent is. He's putting both arms in between him and his opponent. He's lifting his leg up, head off the mat. He's doing everything I can ask for him to do to stay in that fight. So there wasn't a bad stoppage. We'll go more into that. But that person who's yelling out, that's almost the same thing as if you grab a horn and ring the horn as if you're calling the time. It can easily be
So in that clip, he talks about his opponent tracking, Sean. You showed me a unique video in itself about whether or not he was tracking his opponent. We both thought that it was a clear knockout. The minute he went down, it was over, right?
That was the only thing we relatively agreed on. Was the fact that, was his eyes glazed over? Absolutely. There was no question in my mind that he was legitimately out. But to say that he wasn't tracking, or to say that, in your words and Hardy's words, he went into the fencing position, I couldn't see that for the life of me in any videos that Hardy was showing.
And I tried to pause it a few times just to kind of show you that posturing.
And even then, it still was not definitive in
right.
the video.
Because it's so quick.
But the video that I showed you completely changes the narrative.
Yeah.
If you slow that down, it changes the narrative. Because like you said, he was grabbing Jay's arm and guiding him, but he wasn't. And then when you look at it, as soon as he goes down, he doesn't even go in the fencing position. His arm immediately is up and over and reaches. To me, it looks like there was a clear reaching motion, as well as his right hand going over near his face. It was very hard to say what Hardy saw was legitimate. And from my perspective of being cage side over the years, is it's hard to be on any side of the cage to legitimately see anything clearly.
And I don't care if you have a monitor or not.
It's still hard.
Because the angle that you are given on the monitor, and trust, we know, not 100% you're going to see exactly what you think you see.
Correct.
Just because you are a fighter and you see the reaction of said fighter, right, Sean?
Yeah.
That's your reaction, isn't it not?
Correct.
So when you're a fighter and you're a fighter calling the fight, like I always tell people, is that it is vastly different to get behind a mic and give a formed opinion on a subject just because you are in the fight game. Doesn't mean you could talk. Doesn't mean you could articulate a sentence or a thought to get the point across. Vastly different. To become one of the greatest coaches doesn't mean you're a great player, right?
Correct.
So, with saying that, it's so hard to see a guy get knocked out, and you see the feet come out, you see him going backwards, and you see him smack his head. It is very hard to keep your emotions in check when you're calling a fight. But I'm not going to sit here, and I'm not going to say that Herb Dean's a bad referee. I'm not going to sit here and say that Herb Dean needs to be reprimanded. I'm not. We know James Beers, John Romero, David Dakin, a lot of referees. We've talked to a lot of referees. Jason Herzog. We love talking to them because we have a transparency with them and they have a transparency with us. So I'm not going to go through a lot of conversations that we have had. They know the conversations that we have had. And it is such eye-opening and respectful between us and them. That's our rapport with them.
Absolutely.
So with this incident in Herb Dean is that I cannot 100% definitively say that Herb Dean didn't see what he saw because of the angles that we got. And trust me, Sean, we were going back and forth about different videos. I mean, how many videos did we look at, Sean? How many different angles did we try to get? Like, it's crazy how many angles both you and I came up with to look at. And it was crazy to see how you could kind of shift a little bit here and there. But, man, you just could not get a 100%
definitive look of
what Herb saw.
Also, at the end of the day, Tristan, all I could say is Hardy overreacted. There are certain times that when we're sitting cage side, that you have to be very careful in what you say. Like, there's been several times where we've been at the cage side and we're like, ooh, that fighter heard us. Ooh, probably should not say that right now.
Yeah.
There are several times in which you say that and you're like, just like, hold up, wait a minute. You got to be very careful. And when you're in an open arena where you can't turn off the switch of who to hear and who not to hear when you've got some people yelling. All you know is somebody yelling. Somebody's going to hear you.
That's another thing.
We've heard it before where, one of the fights where Daniel Cormier and saying that it was basically a secondary coach.
Right. And that's another soundbite I want to get to real quick. Is something else interesting I heard Dean said, which I absolutely agree, and kind of what you just touched on right now.
Is during the match, someone yelled out, "Stop the fight." This is really interesting because there's only professionals there. There's not one fan in the building. Everybody has a job there. Everybody knows what their job is, and they have specific duties. I have a job to referee the fight. One of my duties, is to stop the fight when the fighter's taking too much damage. There's two people who are authorized to advise me doing that, to maybe yell out those words, "Stop the fight." There's one, the physician. We have a ringside physician who knows more about the physical body than I do. And he's there to give me advice. If he can't get my attention, maybe he might yell, "Stop the fight." Then there's the fighter's corner. They train with him, they know about him, they know more things about him than I do. They may know something I don't know, and so that's why they would give me some advice to stop the fight. Ultimately, to stop the fight is my decision. So for anyone to...
So that was Herb Dean talking about somebody yelling outside the cage, "Stop the fight." And he explains a little bit about who can stop the fight. Sean, you talked about that there's been times where we are cage side and we're calling a fight and we're like, ooh, a fighter heard us say something. There's a video that is circulating that it clearly shows, Sean, where the shouting came from. And Herb Dean says, looks right where Felder and Hardy is and tells them, calm down. So he knew who was saying it and where it was coming from. If you're pointing at the commentator's table saying, calm down. To say that he wasn't sure, I don't buy that. I don't.
It's hard to buy it. It really is. It's one of those things that is like, I'm not so sure I'm 100% sold on that.
Sean, there's been times where Ramiro has came over to us on a stoppage or something like that because he heard us say something. And he's come over to us and say, what did you guys see? What did you guys see? And then we have to explain to him. And then we get in a conversation. So trust me, if guys can hear cage side, trust me, you heard. You know exactly who was talking at what point and where it came from.
Absolutely.
You heard it. So don't play that. I don't buy that card. I don't think that you should play that card. You know where it came from. You know who said it. Own it. But I do think that we need to have a gold standard, Sean, somewhere. Because to what are these refs kind of measured at?
They're not measured at anything. And
you go through the schooling. You go through these tests. You go through these stuff, right?
Yeah.
But what are they truly measured by? Because when you are in high school, you get grade letters, you pass a test, you get an A, you get a B. When you pass your SATs, you get a grade. At what point do we have a gold standard for referees to say this is what it means to be a good ref?
Well, that's the thing, though. I think
all we hear is, who's the good ref? Oh, Big John was.
I think a gold standard is not necessarily a universal phrase, but I think that when you go through the training to become a ref in anything, you are held to a gold standard. I think it comes down to what level of punishment comes down for doing things incorrectly. So I think the phrasing,
yes.
I think the phrasing of a gold standard, it's already there for the refs.
Should there be accountability for actions like this?
Absolutely. If there's accountability for referees in the NFL, if there's accountability for umpires in Major League Baseball, then there should be accountability for referees in boxing, There should be accountability for referees in mixed martial arts. There should be accountability for judges in all sports. There should be that. If you have a commission of any sort that oversees any regulations at every point, you should be held accountable for
100%.
your own actions.
Absolutely.
That's what should happen. But it seems like when you get up to the higher levels of whatever sport it may be, the accountability is not held. The accountability essentially is washed away. So at what point...
Okay, I need to touch on this because this
is enough enough.
Right. Again, that's fake news.
No, it's not.
Because
Hardy, I heard Hardy say that him and Herbert weren't friends.
But that's people running with what Big John said. Big John said that they're best friends.
And Hardy says they're not friends. I take that.
Just because they're in the UK,
I take it with a grain of salt.
Big John's just inserting his ways because UK guy. Sean, you were brought into an honorary UK team with Lint Vazal. So, I mean, you see where I'm going with this? Like, I don't believe a whole lot of stuff
and that's where I'm going with that, Tristan, is it's a lot of he said, she said.
Absolutely.
Hardy says one thing, everybody else says another thing. It's just like the Herb Dean thing and versus Dan Hardy.
I just think
you're 50-50 split.
Yes.
There's no way around it.
But at the end of this, all of this, Sean, regardless of Herb Dean shedding a light onto this, right? Onto the late stoppage, because there's been several in the last couple of months, right?
Yeah.
How should the commission hold refs accountable, or if they're not going to hold them like accountable via suspension or a fine, right? How can you make this a learning opportunity?
It's simple. Okay? You got fights that are based on a 10 on a number scale of 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you can judge around who gets a 10, who gets a 9, who gets an 8, whatever. Why can't you judge a referee? Why can't you judge him on a scale of 10? Oh, you know what? Your performance tonight was a 5.
Okay, I'll take that one step further, okay? So you have a head commission guy, right? Now, I'm not talking about the judges. Let the judges do what they need to do, right? The commission guy, the lead guy, like say David Deacon, right? Knows all of his referees and all his and all the judges, right? David should be able to get a scorecard, have all the judges, the referees that are going to be there, right? And be able to score his own referees, and then at the end of the night, this is what your scorecard is. And then you teach them where they went wrong. What round they could learn better. What round could they have done? What round did they lose focus? Or what round did they end up changing and pivoting? You know? Something like that sort. I think that's what you need to have from the commission.
Yeah, you could.
It would be a great learning experience.
But again, that's like us trying to change something that's been broken that nobody necessarily wants to attempt to fix or better in the sport.
We got something that's broken, and I have a thumbnail that says it that we'll talk about it later on in the show.
But you know what? Let's go to a break.
Yeah.
We'll come right back, and we'll touch on everything else. We got a little bit of Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. coming up.
For Yamasaki.
It is officially announced. That is his real fight coming back? Yeah. We'll touch on that one.
Yep. More with the New Crossbow Sports Warriors coming right back after this. We are the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors, a combat sports talk show like no other. where we break down fight cards, we break down news and articles, and we give you our opinions. We are Sean and Tristan Ducross. Cross the line. Join a new combat sports talk show every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. What's up, everybody? We are the Ducross brothers, like it says right behind us. Cross the line. Join us. Smash that like button. Share us. Show us some love. Get us out there. Shout outs to our sponsor, ESPN Plus. And Auntie. I love Auntie right here. You could go to iloveauntie.com. Use promo code DucrossPros and save yourself 10%. Good stuff if you like CBD for muscles and aches and pains. My boy got you covered with muscle rub. Anything you need, we got you squared away. Anyways, we got Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. We got the date. We got the time. We got the pay-per-view money.
We don't have the money dollar
Yes,
yet.
I do. Ooh. I got the money.
Well, let's see if it's right and not wrong.
It is right. It is right. So, first off, it's called the Legends League.
Part of the Legends League.
Part of the Legends League. Which is interesting in itself because there's also another fight that will be promoted on this card, as well as a potential fight down the road. And we have that too. Yes, we do. But Mike Tyson, let's just break it down real quick. Which I'm a little confused, so Sean, bear with me because we are talking about the California State Athletic Commission, which we already have an issue with this week. So bear with me. I feel like that I'm going to go into politics here. So,
it'd probably be better than anything we got going on right now.
Oh, God, right? Oh, my God.
Different conversation for a different day.
Yes.
For a different show.
I should so create a show on politics and freaking just stir the pot.
Apparently that's what I know how to do. Is that any conversation I know how to... Apparently, I'm like Pat McAfee. That... At work,
we can provoke people.
At work, they know that, Sean's going to try to poke the bear. I was like, sounds like Pat McAfee. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, Pat McAfee went off on Adam Cole and completely turned it sideways. And here, apparently, I was doing the same thing.
And I laughed because I was like, dude, that's his job. But Mike Tyson, let's just break something down. It's going to be 8 rounds of expedition fight. 3-minute rounds, 12-ounce gloves. But wait. There will be no judges at ringside.
There will be no winner.
Right? There will be no headgear. But you can't go for a knockout. But wait. Roy Jones Jr. said that this is going to be a legit fight and you can't put it past Mike Tyson for coming after his head. So going for a knockout will be frowned upon, so you can't do that. Andy Foster said going for Andy Foster. That's going to be a name you're going to hear a couple times tonight. Andy Foster going for a KO is discouraged. A cut can and will stop the fight if somebody is cut. What are we doing? Sean, it's 8 rounds, 3 minutes, no headgear, and they can't fight. So we're talking about a pillow fight. The Conor McGregor versus Floyd was more of a fight than this sounds like it will be.
You know, I was thinking about this, okay? I was digging about this fight. I was trying to play devil's advocate here, okay? If you listen to Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, they feel like this is a real fight and somebody's head's going to get ripped off.
They're selling it.
So Mike Tyson feels like he's going to rip off Roy Jones Jr. head, as you said. Roy Jones Jr. feels like he's going to play with a pit bull. Okay. So we've got a unique situation going on here. 12-ounce gloves, no headgear. But if you get knocked out, the fight immediately stops. If you get a cut, the fight stops. But if you listen to either one, somebody's going to get slept. It's not going to be what you think it is. And especially if you're going to run it on pay-per-view, and it's being commissioned by CSAC, something's not lining up for me, dude. Something's not lining up for me.
No.
I think they mutually came to an understanding that they're going to do an 8-round bout because neither one of them is going to go 8 rounds.
I'm still trying to figure out why not a 6.
Because you got to make it interesting, or in Roy Jones Jr., we got to have fun.
So 8 rounds of an expedition fight. That sounds like it would be a pillow fight for $49.99 on pay-per-view.
Who's going to pay $49.99 for this pay-per-view? Everybody's going to be on the internet looking for the quickest
a stream,
way.
right?
Yes.
This will go down September 12th in LA, called Frontline Battle
On Triller.
because Triller paid $50 million for the streaming rights.
You kidding me? $50 million for the rights for this fight.
Sean, and who's going to sell this pay-per-view? Who's selling this pay-per-view? Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.
Yep.
Or wait for it. Nate Robinson versus Jake Paul. Who's really doing the selling? Like, if we're talking about internet sensations, we're talking about the media mecca, social media world, right?
Yeah.
Who's really doing the pushing right now?
It's going to be Jake Paul. As weird as it is, it's Jake Paul.
Like, I did not want to say that, but when I saw Jake Paul on this card, I was like, oh, this is going to just tear all revenues right through the roof.
Because it's streaming.
Yes.
But what's interesting about this, Tristan, is the fact that, so you got Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. on Triller. If you don't want this to be a real legit 8-round expedition bout where somebody's probably going to get slept, then why is Triller showing a 10-part docuseries on Triller so you get amped for the fight? You're wasting money on what should be a celebrity boxing bout between two former champions. So you see where I'm going with this? There's a disconnect
100%.
of what is actually going to happen. My thinking is the latter. There's probably nothing going to happen. We're probably overanalyzing this. But at the same time, something's missing. Something's clearly missing here. When all lines point to, why are you going to waste money?
Sean, what is missing here, though, is we have 50-year-olds. 54, 51. Last fight 15 years ago versus a couple years ago. Roy Jones Jr. knocked out Bobby Gunn in 2018.
Roy Jones Jr. doesn't even look like he's quick anymore.
No. But he's going to be in heavyweight form. How can the CSAC approve this fight, and they say they've been tested, they've been ran through the ringer, they've done things that is abnormal for these two fighters to make sure that they are 100% fair? What is interesting about this fight is that it's being allowed by the CSAC, right? Then you have an issue that happened over the weekend with Estrada. So how, again, I told you you're going to hear Andy Foster's name a little bit here. And with all due respect, David Deacon it was funny because he even, sorry, buddy, throwing you out there because I was talking to you the other night because I was like, dude, we already got this. We're already coming after this. Trust me. Full transparency, we coming after it. That's one thing you have to know about the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors is that we have that tagline, dude. We cross that line. Sometimes you like it or you don't. But what you get with us is 100% pure transparency, right, Sean?
Yeah.
We don't sugarcoat anything. We don't hide from anybody. We are exactly who we are, and we stand by what we say. But, man, California State Athletic Commission, guys, what are you guys seriously doing? I know we're in a pandemic. I know, I get it.
Trying to make that quick money.
Trying to make that money. You all about that money. I get it.
Money, honey.
I get it. Trying to pocket some of the dough. I get it. So Mike Tyson comes out and says, dude, I need you guys to sanction a fight. It's going to be crazy. I got Jake Paul, the $1 million man, in my pocket for this streaming. I got it. And then we're going to just kill a little person. Like, that's going to be money.
Oh, Logan Paul already did that on his TikTok with the fridge. We're in a situation here.
What are we doing?
And he's doing that. So that's funny that you brought that up. He did that on a TikTok. Bashed him in with the fridge by accident because he didn't see him. Your words, you set that one up. Sorry, Nate Robinson.
Dude, I'm not even looking at social media. This is what I'm talking about.
I just saw that the other day. I was like, oh, this is so bad. And I was like,
and I can guarantee, how many views did that get? Do you know?
No, I didn't know because
you
it's
didn't
like,
look at it.
No, I was just like, ay. Like I'm waiting for somebody to go after Logan Paul for that one, and it's just like, it's like watching what is it, Jackass?
Yes,
it's like watching Jackass all over again with those two.
But that's
like they're the modernized version of Jackass.
And the thing is, you know this is going to make money. You know it is. Like, as much as you want to hate on it, piss on it, it's going to make money.
And it's so, but that's where we're at when it comes down to this generation of people. This generation is all about seeing the silliness.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. I don't like it. I know our boys over at Fightbook sure as hell don't like it. I know our old school guys over at Skippy Cohen and them. They didn't like it. That was one thing they always hated about where mixed martial arts was going.
And it's funny because here we are in 2020 in a pandemic, and we're talking about celebrities taking a fight game that meant so much to so many people and making it something that it should not be. For years, I heard the conversation about making it mainstream. How can we make it mainstream? And the only way you could actually make it mainstream is by making it a clown show. How is that fair to everybody that put blood, sweat, and tears into a combat sport, and only to look across the border to people that have no idea about stepping inside of a ring or a cage, and they're making double and triple what you make?
You know what's funny is that you're talking more about the Jake Paul fight versus Nate Robinson than you're talking about Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. That probably says about
how sad is that?
All it needs to be said about the fight.
How sad is that, Sean?
Just saying.
Two legends stepping inside of a fight.
But what we were talking about,
Nate Robinson and Jake Paul, because they're probably going to be the ones that are going to bring in the money, break the streaming records, because for some odd reason, everybody wants to watch Jake Paul and Logan Paul fight on the zone.
And see, and that's the thing about the Legends League. Mike Tyson says it in his video on Triller, is that the Legends League is there for people, for athletes who think they still have something left in the tank. Whether you're a hockey player, a basketball player, a football player, if you still think you got something in the tank, then guess what, folks? The Legends League is your league.
And that brings me to another fight that was announced that's going to be coming up after this. Almost 100% set in stone. Roy Jones Jr. is going to take on Anderson Silva finally.
See? But you talk about the Legends League, and that's why we got the Nate Robinson versus Jake Paul. Because Nate Robinson was actually a name in the NBA for a little bit of time. Jake Paul is a celebrity. I hate using that word for him, but we'll go with it. As you see, it made me cringe when I said that.
Is it bad that his new song ain't horrible? It's better to Tekashi 669?
Maybe.
Okay.
But so you look at that, and that's why we got this fight. The Legends League is going to have more stuff like this probably coming down the pipeline.
I guess there's I don't even want to call it a sport at this point. I guess there is a section specifically geared, a niche market for something like this.
There is. Just like what DAZN was doing with the celebrity style, the Jake Paul and the Logan Paul boxing bout. Touch on something that's in the chat room right now is just bring back celebrity on deathmatch.
Yeah.
Well, MTV was slated to bring that back with the little characters and everything else. Like MTV's already planning to bring that back on MTV2. So that's already there. But it's the weird era that we've been involved in for the last 4 years when it comes to combat sports.
What was that thing that was on NBC a couple years back with Bonaducci?
Yeah, was it a celebrity boxing?
It was something like that, right?
Yeah.
But it's pretty bad that's kind of where we are going right now in the pandemic. Do we really want combat sports to be relative in this world right now in the pandemic? We all wanted sports to come back. We did. We wanted to feel some kind of normalcy, right? But I also think that in the pandemic, you need some kind of source of entertainment. Because you still can't go out of your way to do what you used to do. So I guess this niche, it strokes a little bit of somebody's nerve. Strokes a little bit of a fancy for certain people. So I guess we're going to have to see September 12th on how this shakes out, right, Sean?
It is. And I'm going to find one way or another to watch it just because. But it's really a shame that that's where we're at with this. And truly, it's just another version of TikTok that is done that has celebrities like Eminem, Alicia Keys. And there's the other thing, too, is here's the kicker. Because of Triller and because of the Legends League and Mike Tyson's conglomerate and his group. So on the Frontline Battle, it's going to be a 3-hour event. It's going to have live musical performances from big name artists. See? Can't wait to see who this is. Hey, Snoop Dogg, where you at? You in LA?
No, he might be promoting his new wine. His wine.
Out drinking your 19 Crimes collab. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting September 12th. That's for sure. I already booked me to open.
Of course you did.
Yes. Best believe it. I'm opening, not closing.
But Sean, coming out of this, I hope David Deacon stays around for this. Because California State Athletic Commission got a bone to pick with you. Andy Foster, California State Athletic Commission, I'm very disappointed in you guys. Very disappointed. And it comes at the helm of this.
We are the DeCross Brothers. We are on every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just a little bit of a different night tonight. But we are a different breed of combat sports talk show. We will touch on any topic at any time. Nothing is off limits. So if you're looking for something different, check us out.
All right, everybody. We are the Ducross Brothers. I'm Tristan Ducross. That's Sean Ducross. What an incredible night. Thank you to everybody that is showing up and showing some love and showing out tonight. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're on Facebook watching us, click the heart icon or the like icon. Share us all over the social media. Get the word out. Now, it's the fun time.
I wish we could play the music from, I believe it's Fall Out Boy. Light 'em up.
Right?
Light 'em up.
California State Athletic Commission, what is going on? Seriously. And the thing that is being called into question right now is hashtag SoccerMom2. Yep, I coined it first. So if you see it anywhere else, tag Tristan Ducross, tag the Ducross Brothers, because we got that first. So I'm going to start off by first saying that California State Athletic Commission, you pride on fighter safety. You were the ones that wanted to create the new weight classes to protect the fighters. You were the ones that put in safety measures. You did that. You put Miranda Atkins in an unsafe environment. You put Miranda Atkins against Estrada, who by far, Sean, again, what everybody doesn't know is that you too, we are a student of the game, are we not? Yeah. It comes down to watching video every single day, breaking down fighters, analyzing fights. Miranda Atkins started training when she was 39. She fought at 42 on this card. Okay? You guys want to look at some horrific stuff? And I'll prove why Miranda should never have been. Nobody's talking about this. They just said that by the video of Estrada and Atkins, right? Immediately, everybody said that she should not have been in there. Yeah. If California State Athletic Commission did their job,
this fight would never have happened.
Because go on YouTube, look up Miranda Atkins versus Tracy Morris.
Different one. I thought it was the same one.
No. It is exactly the same one. Miranda Atkins, look up versus Julie Russell. It's the same girl.
But that was a kickboxing bout.
Yes, exactly. So if somebody would have done their research, she had 2 kickboxing fights, ish, and one she was choked out.
But that's not what we're talking about.
No. I'm just saying, if you see how she fought in a kickboxing, right?
No, but still. Tristan.
And you see her come out the way that she came out in the boxing, almost identical, bro.
But Tristan, that's not... You can talk about that she has kickboxing.
I'm not talking about the background. I'm saying that if you saw these two fights, there would be no way.
No, because
you
even
put her
on
in a fight.
Boxing record, Tristan, there's no way. Forget about what you just said. Throw that out there. Throw it out there.
Why? Because she was 5-0 and against all debuters?
Exactly.
And the fact that one girl that she fought twice?
Exactly. Forget about what you just said. Just stick to the principle here that we are talking about.
If we're talking about just boxing.
Just boxing. She was 5-0 at 42 years old, 4 fights against debuters. One was a repeated fight.
And the funny thing is, those debuters never fought again.
So
what is that telling you too?
Feed me.
You have a girl that has no skill.
And
in 2 fights,
you know who you want to be rubbed the wrong way?
Talk to me.
Here's the kicker, okay? So not only did you take a woman that was 5-0 against debuters, not only did you take a woman who was 42 years of age.
Yep.
Just a woman that just battled cancer. A woman who was flown in for this fight, who probably did not get a full camp, was sanctioned by Andy Foster of CSAC. Okay, we're at 5, right?
Yep.
5 issues right there. So on top of that,
didn't look at Sean. Add. Go ahead. Add.
On top
add
of
6. Hold on. Add 6. I got one.
it was for the what was
Well, it
it?
was a title fight.
For the WBC lightweight title fight. You kidding me? A 42-year-old woman who's
Hold on.
5-0
Add
against
another one.
debuts.
Hold on. Add another one. Add another one. The fact that you could do research on her and find 2 MMA fights that she should never should never have fought. Period. You did no research.
And
None.
And Estrada's camp said that they couldn't find any footage on her. I did. I even was able to Google this chick. And so
that's a lie.
So you couldn't find footage on this chick, and then it was like, well, she took the fight, and
Cool.
It was. She was gonna come knock my head off.
Hey.
The chick barely came out of the
Sean,
corner.
we are in a pandemic. We are in a world of where what? I don't even know the exact number, but 36 million people filing for unemployment.
I got 8, 9, and 10.
What's 8, 9, and 10?
8.
Talk to me, Goose.
Estrada,
Yes.
19-0.
Well, now
Well,
she was
18-0.
18-0 coming into this fight.
The WBC silver lightweight flyweight title is what was on the line. 9, 2-time junior Olympic national champion. 10, a U.S. champion.
I got 11.
And Andy Foster, you
Wait.
You let her sign on the dotted line, and you said, "Oops, my bad."
I got 11.
basically?
I got 11. There's video of Sinasa Estrada training with Chris Cyborg and cracking Cyborg. A 180-pound
And
woman,
Andy Foster
or 108.
and the group of CSAC sanctioned this.
And kicker, I sincerely didn't think Atkins was going to win, but I thought she would go longer than 7 seconds.
His words.
Shut up. I'm done. CSAC, the guys that bred that you are about fighter safety, says, I certainly didn't think Atkins was going to win, but I thought she would go longer than 7 seconds.
You allowed a fighter to sign a contract knowing they were outmatched.
Knowing that she was going to lose. You knew.
You just hoped that your thought of the outcome wasn't going to be the outcome.
If she lost in 8 seconds, would you be okay?
If she lost in 10 seconds, would you
you
be
be
okay?
okay? If she died inside that ring and she lasted 11 seconds, would you be okay? That is disgusting.
But yeah, CSAC came out and said, "I'm sorry, I should never made that match."
No, you can't say sorry. I've seen fighters get thrown to the wolves. I've seen women get outmatched and outfought. I've seen it. I've been in this game for a minute. And yeah, I'm a little angry and a little fed up. Because at what point do you hold the people that the powers that be accountable for their actions?
What I don't get is that I get that you're going to get a payday for $10K. If that's worth it for you to get $10K and get your brains bashed in and hope to God that you didn't die in the ring, that's on you. That's on you.
I think what bugs me the most,
but this should be the last time
this happens.
this happens. The fact that Andy Foster admitted fault, the fact that this situation happened,
the fact that there was no care.
Viral, this should be enough now to pump the brakes and look over these contracts of these fighters that they signed and not to pad stats. We gave you 11 reasons
why this fight should never have
happened. 11. If we can find 11 reasons why this fight should not have happened, Andy Foster and CSAC and everybody else that's in his corner should have been able to find it. But the thing, though, about
they let Miranda Atkins down.
But the thing about this, Tristan, is I'm not going to throw names out there. But it's not just CSAC.
No.
It's other conglomerates,
organizations
of commissions
that have allowed this to happen.
That have allowed situations like this to happen.
Yes.
On top of that, of us showing commissions of fighters' records combined that should not be allowed to fight certain other fighters.
And again, it's just
over
because
the years.
Again, it's because we care about this sport.
We care about
the longevity and the safety of the fighters that are in this fight game that bleed, sweat, and cry every single time they go inside that cage. I care about the sport that we have been in for almost a decade. I care. Full transparency with everything that we have ever done. Good, bad, or indifferent. We don't sugarcoat anything. This is as real and as honest as it gets. We love all of our guys that we have known over the course of the years, that has taught us so much, that has shared insight into a lot of stuff.
If we didn't have the connections that we have or the relationships we have developed,
yes,
we probably would not be as outspoken as we are when it comes to fighter safety or wanting to see the best for the fighters that we do.
But they know who we are. They know our passion. They know our love for this sport. Miranda Atkins was done wrong, and I don't care if she signed on the dotted line or not.
By CSAC, she was done wrong by her own people. She was done wrong by Golden Boy.
100%.
She was done wrong by her own family for a quick payday that could have cost her life. Was it really worth it?
She barely got out of the corner, bro.
She took 2 steps and ate a 5-pack combo.
I can't even express what I feel to see something like that, because I've seen it so much over the years that we have been in this fight game. All I want is people to take respect and care of the sport that you love and that you work hard for, not just because of you trying to make a star. You want to make a star so bad you're willing to kill another person inside that cage?
Risk it.
Or risk it? That's good enough for you? I can't accept that anymore. I can't. We are so far into this game, so far removed from the human cockfighting. We are so far removed from that stuff, from the gladiator days.
But like I told you,
if bare knuckle can have competitive fights, if we could start going that road, and yet we're talking about a soccer mom too.
And you know what? We were talking about it. It's like, and the bad thing though, is like I told you, is there's a good chance that this isn't going to be the last time we're going to see this.
No.
This isn't going to be the last time we're going to light them up.
Nope.
This ain't going to be the last time that we're going to throw dirt on the wound. No. And this will continue to happen.
This isn't a wasp bite where you put coffee grains on. This is something that's going to be an open wound. And I'm going to take some salt and I'm going to rub it into it a little bit.
And this is going to continue to happen until there is a commission that is willing to stand up for the fighters.
We need to hold accountability from the refs to the commissions. We need some kind of understanding that what these gyms are doing, what these coaches are doing, what these fighters want.
Hey, David, if you're still in the chat room, Post a comment. Let me know, because I got a question for you. Or if not, I'll ask it off air.
Right. We need to do better. We need to be better. Do we not?
Yes.
In all facets. From what's going on in the world today, what's going on in combat sports, what's going on with commissions and refs, we owe it to everybody. That's what we need in this world. We can't sugarcoat anything anymore. We can't. Time to be real.
You know, we always get knocked for being too forward.
Yes.
We get knocked for being too truthful or too aggressive. Because there's a lot of people out there that do a show like we do, that are on major platforms that we aren't, and play by the rules. I don't play by the rules. I want to change the rules for the better.
Yep. We need. Yep.
Tagline for a reason. Tagline for a reason. Love us, hate us.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, folks. But we're the New Cross Brothers Sports Warriors. I guess Devin Deacon left a little bit, so you didn't get a question.
I'll ask it off air.
Okay, and then we'll get the answer thrown up onto our page. But we're going to leave you guys on that note. Fight Book MMA, anybody that's listening to us, share this portion. We owe it to these fighters to be better. We are the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. This is my brother, Sean Ducross. Until next time, we're out.
Let's get it on! Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.